Hello, everyone. So thank you. Welcome to this training session today. That is connected to the configuration of our eNote4 C digital controller. So for dynamic weighing applications, check weighing, grading, and sorting. At first, we will introduce ourselves. So Christophe.
Hello, I am Christophe Violet. I am the customer support manager, and I am SCAME from 12 years now, and with a very technical background beside me.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Myself, I'm Nicolas Joannes, area sales manager at SCAME since 2016, in charge of Eastern Europe countries and also Asia Pacific area. So at first, we will very shortly introduce the rules of operation during this webinar. So as you may have noticed, your microphone are off, but also your camera. But at any time during this presentation, you'll have the possibility to ask questions to our presentation team. So today we have Vincent Crémier who is joining us. And you can at any time ask questions to Vincent using the Q&R tool, which is displayed at the bottom of your screen. So by clicking on this icon, you will access to a window in which you can write down your question. So either a question related to the use of the Zoom webinar application, if you face any problem, and then Vincent will answer you on real time, or questions related to the presentation and to our eNote4C controller. In this case, Vincent will record your question that we will answer at the end of this training. So to start with, I will first make myself a short introduction on about our eNote4 range of digital transmitters and controllers. So just for you to know a little bit more about this range of weighing electronics. And then I will let the floor to Christophe, who is going to make the technical presentation training by itself. With all details about the configuration, our eNoteView 2 software, etc., etc. So to start, so SCAME developed a large range of solutions, weighing solutions. So either related to plant engineering, for the main sectors of activity will be the food and beverage, mining, metals and minerals processing, the chemical and pharmaceutical industry, the waste management, but this is not an exhaustive list. We have also solutions for logistic applications, etc. But also solutions for machine control, mainly for packaging machines. So here you have a description of the different solutions, applications for which SCAME is able to provide to you complete solutions. So with dedicated electronics, but also the complete measuring chain with the load cells, the mounting kits, etc. So solutions for storage, solutions for material supply, so flow control of material. So solutions for feeding system, continuous feeding system that can be used for mixing application as an example, manufacturing processes, packaging, but also dynamic weighing, which is what we will see today, for check weighing, grading, or sorting solutions. So here you can see the corresponding range in the version in the eNote4 range. eNote4T like transmitter for static weighing, eNote4B for belt weighing, eNote4F for feeding, D for batch dosing and batch filling solutions, and eNote4C for check weighing applications. So now a few words about the eNote4 and the possible communication offered with this range of transmitters and controllers. So eNote4 is proposed with a large range of communication protocol, either serial communication protocols with Modbus RTU, CANopen, or even Profibus communication, or Ethernet communication protocols with Modbus TCP, Profinet, Ethernet IP, or even EtherCAT. So these communication protocol allow you to easily connect our weighing modules, weighing transmitters to the main PLC available on the market. Now a few words about the maintenance and the way to make the configuration of the eNote4. So first, eNote4 integrates in standard some diagnosis system able to let you check if the weighing chain is working correctly. So this is a weighing diagnostic that you can launch from the PLC.
Exactly.
As an example.
It will allow you to detect a drift, for example.
Yeah, thank you, Christophe. Good example. And also something very important in eNote4 is developed as you can so that you can easily replace it on a production line or on a machine without the need to recalibrate it. What are the tools to make the configuration of eNote4? You have different possibilities. So either using our eNoteView 2 software, and then you can easily make the configuration, connected your computer to the eNote4 using the USB plug, which is on the front panel of the eNote4 transmitters. This is what Christophe will present to you today. But also for Ethernet versions, you have the possibility to do it from a web server. We will see it a little bit more in detail later on, or even through an application developed for mobiles or tablets, which is the eNode app available on for Android systems.
Just one point.
Yeah.
Don't forget, you can also configure your eNote4B with your PLC if you need.
Of course, and this is what we will see just right now. So how what are the keys for the implementation of eNote4? We can propose HMI panels, as you can see. So we have two versions with two different sizes that you can connect through an auxiliary communication port on the eNote4, either for the display during the process, but also for the configuration. So the whole configuration of your eNote4 can be done using these HMI panels. And we have also, in order to help for the implementation of our electronics, we've developed a range of block functions,
yes.
a library which is available on our website and free of charge. So you can download them. We have block functions for different brand of PLC. So yes. Schneider Electric, Rockwell, but also Siemens.
And we have also block function in CANopen, but for Schneider.
Yeah, for Schneider Electric indeed. Last word about the operation. So the range of firmwares which are proposed with our eNote4. So we have a total of 5 firmwares available. The T firmware, T like transmitter, mainly dedicated to static weighing or data transmission. Then we have the B version for belt weighing, continuous weighing on a belt conveyor. F for continuous feeders by loss in weight. We have the D version, D like dosing, dosing and filling, and the C version for grading and check weighers. So this is an overview and a sum up of what we said before. So here you see all the communication protocols available with our eNote4, which are available for all versions, all firmware versions. You can see also the two models of eNote4 which are proposed. So either a DIN model, RAI-DIN model, but we can also propose a version in stainless steel box with or without the touch panel integrated. So we have two models of touch panels, HMI panels, which are proposed. The ML version, L like large, and MS version, S like small. About the certification, so it's important for you to know that the T version, C version, and D version are OIML approved, so they can be used for legal for trade applications. Something important, the box version of our eNote4 will be very shortly approved for ATEX and Hazardeus, ATEX and IECX use in Hazardeus environment. And the DIN version is UL approved for applications in North America. Now, a few words about the architecture. So, as defined before, so eNote4 is a range of digital transmitters. It means that you can connect them to a digital network going through the factory, and it is possible for you to connect to the same network different versions of eNote4. So here you have a representation in which we've displayed an eNote4T for static weighing, silo weighing, but connected on the network with some other controllers, eNote4D, dedicated for batch dosing, batch filling with Hopper systems, and on the same network on eNote4C, which is dedicated for conveyor weighing, so dynamic weighing. So all advantages of this solution is that you can connect all these transmitters to the same network connected to the central PLC in your factory. Few words about the different tools available for the configuration of the eNote4. So our eNoteView 2 software that will be detailed, explained by Christophe later on, very deeply. So this can be used, of course, for the display on real time with graphical analysis. But it can be also used for the analysis of the data on acquisition, and used for the configuration and the calibration of your electronic. Another possibility for Ethernet versions is to use our web server. So the web server you can connect using passwords for so that you can protect of course the configuration, and you have two mode of connection, either administrator mode or user mode, so that you cannot access to all of the parameters, offering you a level of security. Through this web server, you will be able to do exactly the same things that what you can do through the eNoteView software. So you can access the same functions, the same parameters, and you can of course use this web server also for display purpose, or to perform the configuration and the calibration of the system.
Yes, it's a very important tool because it allows you if you have a VPN access to the machine installed, you can easily check the system for maintenance. If your customer call you at the middle of the night, oh, you have a problem, you can connect on the eNode and check if the problem comes from the eNode, come from the load cells, or come from the process.
So very important point indeed, especially for maintenance operation, because you will be able to remotely quickly access to the data and to the parameters of the controller to make a first to make some checkings.
Exactly.
Then last tool that we can present. So this is an option available with our eNode 4 controllers, the Bluetooth option, so that you can also remotely make the configuration of the eNode 4 controller. So this application will offer also the same possibilities. So either to display the values on real time, or to perform the configuration and the calibration of the system. So this is a tool which can be very interesting, especially for systems in which it's not very easy to access to the cabinet. As an example, like let's give an example with siloing, perhaps, so that you can, from a certain distance from the system, control the have an access to the controller remotely. Okay, last slide to just to summarize and to sum up the different versions available of eNode 4 firmware. So five firmware available: the T version, transmitter for static weighing; the D version for batch dosing, batch filling solutions, so that can be used for packaging solutions; the C version for check weighing, dynamic weighing on a conveyor, or even grading, sorting solutions that we will see today during this training; and two versions dedicated to flow rate control, the B version for belt weighing, which can either make a totalization of the product or to let you control the flow of material, regulate the flow; and the F version for continuous feeding application by loss in weight, so that you can also control a feeding system. So I'm now going to let the flow to Christophe, who is going to start the training session related to the eNode 4C.
Yes, thanks, Nicolas, for this complete presentation of our device. So we will now start the training himself. Don't forget, as user or future user of our product, that this training has been built as a quick start. So if you follow step by step this training, you will be able to start very quickly your application. All the presentation and the documents you will see during the next hour will be available either on YouTube, either in PDF, as if you request it. So we speak today about eNode 4C, the check weighing application. And what is a check weighing application for people who are not expert in weighing and in check weighing? It's the check weighing is the management of cycle dedicated to the dynamic weighing. It means here we will try and we will manage to weigh packets, boxes, products without a stop on the scale.
Yes, indeed. So that's very important. Check weighing is related to dynamic weighing. So anytime you have a product in motion that you need to weigh, this is connected to the eNode 4C, to dynamic weighing applications.
Exactly. The eNode 4C will be able to detect your product arriving on the scale, either with a detector, either by triggering the levels of weight arriving on the scale.
Yeah.
The goal of Inot4C is to avoid to the user to make a big development in the PLC. So the goal of this device is to calculate the weight of the packet and to give it to the PLC. So if you use the Inot4C at the maximum of its capacities, you will be able to do clearly nothing with your PLC for the weighing. You can dedicate your power of your PLC for other things in your factory or in your machine. The Inot4C will manage the entire cycle and will automatically transfer the weight result to the PLC.
PLC, yes, indeed, that's a very important point, because this is one of the main advantages of this range of firmware, not only the C, but also other firmware which are proposed with the Inot4. The program by itself is already developed, is integrated into the wing transmitter, the wing controller, so that it can manage entirely by itself the weighing process. So nothing to be done by your PLC. The advantage of these controllers is that they will control the process. They will calculate the weight, and then they can send the weight result to the PLC, even control the product, the ejection of the product, and only at that time the PLC will control the rest of the process.
Exactly. Don't just one thing which is not written on this slide, but it was present just before. The Inot4C is certificated for the legal for trade applications in stop and go and in automatic.
Yes, indeed.
We will show you now a few examples of check weighing applications to show you how we use and how other customers use the product. So we can see here we are in food applications.
Mm-hmm.
The goal is to sort packets on which the filling is not good.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a first weighing here.
Mm-hmm.
The display and the result will trigger this actioner,
yes,
which will
indeed.
reject the bad products.
That will control the product ejection.
Exactly.
Yes, indeed. So here it's a process indeed for vegetables, so packaging line for vegetables, potatoes in this case, and then you have a check weigher at the end of the production line to make sure that the packaging was done correctly and to eject the packages which are not filled correctly.
Exactly. This new application is to sort oyster.
Oh, yeah.
So here we sort the oyster by caliber, so by weight, and the weight is taken here, is transmitted to the PLC, and the PLC will put the oyster in the good caliber.
Yes, indeed. Indeed. So, because this is so as you may know, Schem is a French company, and French people very love oysters. This is very popular in our food, and oysters, at least in France, I don't know if it's the same everywhere in the world, but are always sold by dimension, by size. So this is why it's very important in the process of oysters packaging to make a grading by size, which is also related to the weight of the oyster, of course.
Exactly. And last small video, one of our Sweden customer.
Indeed. Yeah.
Indeed. Again in food industry.
Mm-hmm.
Here the goal is to
control the weight of chicken fillets,
Exactly.
as you can see on the video, in order to pack these chicken fillets. And the main idea is to make packages having exactly the same total weight.
Yes.
So let's say the idea is to make to place three pieces of chicken fillet into one package and make sure that the total weight will be 600 grams as an example. So
Yeah.
the robot is picking up
Yes.
specific fillets, depending on their weight.
So typically in this application, the Inode4C will give to the PLC the information of weight, and after the PLC will manage the associating of the different fillets and control the arms of the machine.
Exactly.
So now we will see how to configure our device, because we can think that it's not easy, but you will see that it's not very difficult to configure Inode4C and to start a checkwire very quickly. First thing, we will connect to InodeU2. We will connect to our Inode to InodeU2. For that, we need a USB cable, because the connection with InodeU2 is only in USB.
Yes.
You have two ways to connect to our product. Either you know the address and the baud rate, and in this case, you can, sorry, you don't know. In this case, you can make an automatic detection.
An automatic detection.
You will click on Start Searching, and InodeU2 will scan all the bus and will give you all the devices available on the bus. If once it's done, you double click on the device you want and you click on Connect. Once it's done, sorry, if you know the baud rate and the address, it's even more simple. You fill directly the baud rate and the address, and you click on Connect.
Yeah. So two possibilities to make the connections. Either you know this information and you can directly type the right information to connect to a specific device, or you do not know this information, the baud rate and the address, and then you can launch an automatic detection that will display all available modules on the network.
Exactly. What is good to know for people who used to use InodeView1. Now InodeView2 detect automatically the communication port on which the Inode is connected.
Yeah, because one important point Christophe just said, so in the past years we used to have another version of InodeView software called InodeView1, and then for 1 year approximately now we've launched this new version of software, InodeView2, which offers the possibility to make the same things with additional
yes, more powerful, but also lighter than InodeView1.
Yes, indeed.
Basically, in all applications with all firmware on Inode4, you will see that we always start the configuration by a static calibration. So to make this static calibration, we need to connect to Inode. Once we are connected, we go in the general menu in calibration and in settings to set the general parameters of our scale. First thing, the max capacity. Be careful, the max capacity is not the range of your load cell. It is the max weight accepted on your scale. You can have a 30 kilogram load cell, but you can weigh only 10 kilograms.
Yes,
in this case, you will put a max capacity of 10 kilograms.
Yeah.
The scale interval, so it's the division, basically, if we speak in legal for trade words, it's the way to display the weight values 1 by 1, 2 by 2, 5 by 5.
Yes, indeed. So very important. So the idea is that you want to make a scale 20 kilo per 1 gram. So 20 kilo will be the max capacity of your scale. 1 gram will be the resolution that you want for your scale. So the minimum value, the scale division.
Exactly. Thanks, Nicolas, for this precision. The unit, it's important, and the decimal point position.
Yeah.
Be careful with these two last parameters. It's only cosmetic. They are not transmitted to the PLC. It's just for display.
Yeah.
So once we have set up our general parameters, we will go into the physical calibration. So for that, you go in the menu calibration and you click on physical. Set here the number of segments for your calibration, and here the load associated to your segment. We speak about segments, not always used. This word is not always used in calibration. So we speak of segments because we always start by a zero acquisition. So in a view, if you make a physical calibration, the first step will be your zero. So we speak of a segment because we are always 2 points when we calibrate, at least. Be careful to the calibration. A calibration in one segment is sufficient as most of the load cells are linear. And be very careful because if your load cell is linear, calibrating in 2 or 3 segments can give you more errors than if you calibrate in only 1 segment, because if you say to the node that you want to calibrate in 2 or 3 segments, you say to the node that you are not in a linear process. So in this case, in the node 4, we try to linearize something which is linear, and you will add errors if your weights are not purely good.
So indeed, this is a very important point. So the idea when you make a physical calibration is to at first make a zero, and then check another load to make a linearization of the signal.
Exactly.
If you are in a specific process, it is possible with the E04C to make a calibration with more points. So let's give an example: 0 to 20 kilo. You can make a calibration with 3 points: 0, 10 kilo, and 20 kilo. In this case, we set 2 segments: 0 to 10, 10 to 20, that can have a different linearization of the signal. But as Christophe said, pay attention. This is possible to do it. This is available for specific applications. If there is no reason for you to make 3 points, please make a standard physical calibration in 2 points with 1 segment.
Exactly. And you can, after the calibration, put other weights to control that your calibration is okay.
So after the calibration process.
So once we have filled all our parameters, let you guide by the software. You follow the instruction. It will say you to check there is no load on the scale. You click on OK. It will acquire the zero of your scale. You click on OK. It will ask you to put the weight you have filled just before.
Yes, indeed.
When it's done, you click on OK. It will acquire
the weight acquisition.
Yes, exactly. And it will say you if the calibration is successfully done or not. You can have error of calibration if, for example, you are not stable, or if you have not enough sensitivity when you put your weight. It means that the value of 0 and the value of the weight are too close, and does not allow the node to calculate a good slope.
Yes, indeed. So you are, as Christophe said, you are during this calibration process, physical calibration process, you are guided all the way, and you will get different windows telling you what should be done at each step. This is also the same with our other tools. That's important to say. So this is an example in our inner view two software, but you would have exactly the same the same way to make the calibration into Inode app application.
Yes, the HMI,
and
no
also
observer.
through the HMI, indeed.
Exactly. Once your calibration is done, as I said before, you are allowed to control your calibration. It's advised. It's advised. So you come back into home or you go in graphic as you want and you display the weight. Check the zero return. Check if all is okay. And on this page, you have a very important information. It's the factory points. The factory points are our calibration. All Inode4 are pre-calibrated in Scheme factory. And for 2 millivolt per volt sensitivity, you have 500 and 1,000 points. So if you see that these factory are out of this normal response of the load cell, it gives you a very good tool for diagnosis an overloaded load cell.
Yes, indeed.
The most difficult in Inode4C, we have made the calibration, but we have now to make an acquisition because we are in dynamic application. So as we are in dynamic application, it means that we will don't have a static weight, so we don't wait for stability. So we will acquire the signal to check our signal and to see the frequency response of our system. And this is very important to put the filters at the good cutoff frequency to have the best result for our check wire.
So indeed, just one word, Christophe. So indeed, very important point in dynamic weighing applications. The word dynamic means that the product is in motion. So the product will arrive on the scale and then will leave the scale. These effects will necessarily generate noises, vibration on the system. And on the load cell that is connected to the scale will necessarily check these noises. So the signal that would be measured by the Inode4 will be at first a signal which is very noisy and which is difficult to process. So the idea of the Inode4C is that you will be able to make an acquisition to get the real signal, the raw signal with the noisy signal, and then you will be able to apply filters to reduce this vibration and to have a stable signal that you can analyze for the check weighing calculation.
Exactly. So we will show you now step by step how to do this raw acquisition. So the first thing is to change the baud rate of your Inode to the maximum, or at least just before the maximum, to allow a lot of data transfer on the USB cable. So for that, you use the DIP switches in the front panel of the Inode.
Because the idea for this raw signal acquisition, Christophe, if I'm correct, is to make it at a fast speed.
Yes.
Very, very fast. Okay. So that's what you should do.
Very, very fast, and we will see just after that we will change also other things to be sure that to have this all this data.
Yes.
So you said you change in a prom, you disconnect Inode, and to apply this change, you need to restart the Inode4. Once it's done, we will change the protocol of the Inode. As you said before, we need to pass a lot of big amount of data on the cable and on the link. So we will go to FastScaneBus. FastScaneBus is a proprietary protocol derived of Modbus, but it will allow the Inode4 to speak alone on the link.
Yeah, so this is a protocol developed by Scheme, which is really dedicated for fast transmission of data.
Exactly. When we set the FastScaneBus, the software will propose you automatically all the change you need to make the raw acquisition. So to pass in transmitter mode, go to the AD converter to the speed of 800 measurements per second, and to inactivate all other filters.
Yes, indeed, this is a very important point, because the main reason of a raw signal acquisition is not to filter the signal at first, to get a raw signal, and then after this acquisition, then we will apply filters to improve the signal. But
exactly.
In this process, it's very important to make a fast acquisition in transmitter mode only, without any filters applied.
Exactly. So here you apply all what is needed for your application. You can also do it manually as you want. In general, for the fast gambus and for the functioning mode, and in filters for the other parameters.
Just if you can go back to the previous screen, just one information which is important. All our transmitters, so today we have a training for the eNote4C, but all other versions automatically offer two functioning mode. All of them have automatically a mode available in transmitter, and then you have a specific mode related to the firmware version you've selected. D for dosing, C for check weighing, B for belt weighing, etc. But all versions also have a transmitter mode.
Exactly. So you send it and you save in EEPROM, and when you will reconnect, you have a new parameter which name is acquisition period sampling measurements, and you have to set it to 0 in the goal to leave the eNode speaking when the data arrives from the AD converter. Notice that after this change, the graphic menu has changed to analysis, and you cannot go anymore in application because you are in transmitter.
Yes.
Then you go in analysis, and we will record the raw acquisition of our check wire. So the acquisition is ready to be launched. Check the parameters of your acquisition, typically the time, the duration in which you need to pass.
You want to perform the
acquisition, because we advise you really to pass the real products during the acquisition. We need to know the real frequencies applied on your scale during the functioning in real.
Yeah. So the idea of this raw signal acquisition is to be in the best possible conditions so in your process conditions.
Exactly. So you let the acquisition done. Check at the end of the acquisition if you have the required points. If you have not enough points, it means that your link is not enough stable and is not able to give all the data. In this case, you come back to the baud rate just inferior to the maximum, and you put the AD converter to 400 measurements per second.
Okay.
Basically, it is in noisy environment.
Okay.
Now we have our raw acquisition. We will be able to set our filters. So the first is the AD converter filter. The AD converter filter is very important because we need at minimum between 15 and 25 points to have an efficient check wire calculation. So here you have to make a small calculation of the shape or the length of your scale and how many times the product will be on your scale to determine the AD converter rate you need. We have here small calculation advice. It's not a general truth. It's our experience. You can apply your own experience if you want, but we know that with that you will be able to start efficiently your check wire.
So of course, if you know already these values, you can use your own calculations. If you do not have any idea, then you can use this calculation that should give you a good idea of the AD conversion rate to be used.
The advantage of these two equations is you will always conversion rate between these two results.
Yes.
Now we need to set the low pass numeric filter. So for that, we'll activate the FFT display. And we have to know that the standard signal of a checkwire, the perfect signal of a checkwire, is a square signal.
Yes.
Okay, we have nothing, we have the packet, we have nothing, we have the packet, we have nothing. It's not possible in real life.
No, but, as we can see from the screen. Yeah.
But basically, the square signal has a frequency response as a cardinal sinus, this shape. So we will have to find, and it's not always easy in the requisition in the frequency analysis, this cardinal sinus. More you have harmonics of your cardinal sinus, more the shape of your signal will be squared. So basically, here for Inot4C, we know that if you manage to take the first and if you can, the second wave hole of your cardinal sinus, you will have a good signal to make your checkwire. So basically, in my acquisition, if I look at for my cardinal sinus, I can see that, okay, I have the main frequency here. The first harmonic, it is here.
Okay.
The first wave hole is here. My second harmonic is here, and my second wave hole is here.
Okay.
So I will filter somewhere here. So at 7.5, for example.
Okay, understood.
In the low pass numeric filter, we will ask you also for the filter order. So it's the cutting strength of the filter. More the order is high, more the filter is strong, but pay attention to the harmonics you need, because if you cut too much, you will cut also the harmonics.
Okay, understood. So we have just to better understand, because the filter processing is very important, filter adjustment. So filter adjustment, we have a first thing, which is to adjust the A to D conversion rate, exactly that we saw before. And then once you've adjusted the A to D conversion rate, then you can adjust the low pass numeric filter, which is an additional filtering option.
Exactly.
And to do it, you have to first define these waves to select the right cutoff frequency, and then define the order number.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, understood.
The order number will help you to cut a bad frequency too close of your needed signal.
Okay.
Okay. So for example, here I can say that this frequency is a bad frequency, so I will have to cut very strongly to cut this frequency.
Okay.
If this does not exist, I can say that it's not. I don't need to have a big order, so I can let another 2, for example.
Understood.
So you activate the filters in the simulation here, and you will have on the graph in blue the gross signal and in red the filtered signal. Be careful, the self-adaptive filter is forbidden in checkwire and is not accessible in the simulation in your case.
So this is a very important point. So from this screen, you see indeed in blue color the raw signal acquisition, so the one we did before, and you can see that this signal is very noisy.
Yes.
Due to the vibration of your system, which is normal, because in a dynamic mode you necessarily have vibrations, and then the red signal that we can see is the signal after filtration process.
Exactly. So here you have a focus of a product passing on our checkwire.
Yeah.
And you see in blue the raw signal, and in red the filtered signal with the shape here of our product.
The product passing on the scale.
Okay. Don't forget, at least 15 points between
to be measured.
Yes, between ear and ear to have the best calculation possible. If you see that you have not these 15 points, okay, don't worry. It's a simulation. You come back and you retry.
We can change the parameters and make it different. So the idea for you is during you have a cycle. We will later on define a cycle of measurement, and during the measuring time, after filtration, we need to get at least 15 points.
Yes.
To be able to reach a good accuracy.
If you have 14, it's okay. But
of course, yeah, of course, of course. But the idea on average values,
advised values is between 15 and 25.
Understood.
After it's upper quality and under, it's not enough.
Yeah, and then if you have less points, unfortunately, it will necessarily affect your accuracy.
After you make an average and a calculation with all these points. So if you have 2 points to make an average,
yeah, the quality of the result is lower, and the accuracy will be lower.
Exactly.
Indeed.
Once all is okay for you, from the simulation, you can directly apply the filters. Okay, so you click on it, and automatically it will send to the filters, and it will save it in EEPROM. You can also, if you know very well your system, you don't need to make a graphical analysis. You can also put yourself the filters you need.
Input your own data. Exactly. in
the filtering menu.
In the filtering menu.
Voilà.
Thank you.
Remember that the AD converter goes from 6 measurements per second up to 1,600. The low pass filter order 2, 3, or 4, and the frequency is defined by
should be defined by the user.
Exactly. It's the real I would say competence instead of for competitors. You don't choose between the filter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you don't know what is the filter. Here you can define the filter which suits to your process.
Indeed.
If you still have a bad frequency which is which gives you noise on the signal, you have a band stop to kill this particular
so which is an
frequency.
Additional, if we can say, level of filtering.
Yes, exactly.
So A to D conversion rate, which is the first one, the
low
low pass filter, which is the second one, and a third optional one, which is the band stop.
Exactly. And the self-adaptive filter, forbidden.
Yeah, because not designed for check weighing application.
Exactly.
This is a filter that can be used for other processes, but not dynamic.
Yes, it's an hyperstatic filter.
Yes. Yeah.
And finally, once we have calibrate, make this analysis of vibrations and noise, we have made the filters. We can now set up our check weigher.
Yes.
So we have different parameters to set, and these parameters will be used or not following how you configure your check weigher. I will come back on it just after. So the most important to configure in the Inot4C is the method to start and stop the cycle, and to define if you need a time for stabilization and if you need a time for measurement. The first option we will show here is the start and stop are managed by detectors. So in this case, we will set up the input 1 on start cycle with a negative logic because we want to start the cycle when the product has entirely entered on the scale.
Okay.
And we will set up the input 2 on stop cycle with a positive logic because we want to stop the cycle before the product leaves the scale.
Indeed, understood. So the idea here, what we will be doing now is to make the complete configuration of the cycle, the measuring cycle, with the start, with the stop, and then with the timings inside the cycle.
Yes. Be careful in this option. Your detectors must be on the scale.
Yes.
So you have to know that when the cycle starts, the inode always wait for the stabilization time and acquire all the data during the measuring time. In this case, we will start the cycle with the detectors and we'll stop with the detector. So it means that we will put a measuring time long enough to be sure that it's well the detector which will stop the cycle and not the timer. And for the stabilization time, we will put 0 because our detector here is on the scale and we have configured it to start the cycle when the product is entirely
past
the
detector.
detector.
So the product at that time is fully on the scale and we know that the stabilization time is finished.
Exactly. Yeah. So here it's very easy because here you put stabilization time 0, measurement time something very long, more than the time passed on by the product on the scale.
So that we can measure until the last detector.
Exactly. The second option is we will start on the weight level. And here it's a little more difficult. It's a little more difficult because you can use the start on the weight level only if you weigh always the same product with the same weight, because you will here set stabilization times and measuring time, which depends of your product.
Yes. So we have we have two options to define to start and stop the cycle. Either to do it through external trigger like laser detectors.
Yes.
Or we can also do it by weight detection.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. The laser and the two detectors, we use it when we pass different packets from different shape, different size. And it's easy because you set up nothing.
Yes.
Or mostly nothing. If you are weighing always the same product with the same weight, you can define to start without detectors only on the weight detection, but be careful. It's a little more difficult to set up.
Yes.
Okay. Because we need to define the stabilization time and the measuring time. So to do that, in fact, we will come back to the row acquisition.
Yes.
And we will have to measure our row acquisition, the stabilization time and the measuring time. So we come back, and for that we will have to
use cursors.
Yes, to activate the cursor. So you go in the gears button here, you activate the cursors, and you will place the cursors on the shape of your signal. So to set up the stabilization time, you put the first threshold at your when the weight is upper than your trigger value, and you will put the second cursor when the signal begins to be flat.
Understood. So we have here, the idea here is to define the noisy the part of the signal which is noisy.
Exactly. We will say to VNOT to don't take this part of the measurement.
Yes.
And your stabilization time is given by inode U2, just here, okay, at the top of the window. The second is the measuring time.
Yes.
So in this case, it's exactly the same, but we are putting the cursor on the shape area, on the flat area of our signal. And it's the same. We will measure the time we need to measure here. And little goodie, InodeU gives you the value calculated of your
so
product.
This is an automatic calculation.
Yes, and it allows you on the row acquisition to control that. Okay, I weight the good, I measure the good weight.
Understood.
Once we have done that, we have to put these settings into our applications. So the trigger level, very important. The stabilization time we have measured, and the measurement time we have measured. what we have to know also is inot4 is able to sort. The products. If you have products upper or higher than upper or lower than the target you have fixed, you can give a target and tolerances to your target weight.
Yeah, that's a very important point. As we said before, the inot4C is able to control a target weight, and then you can fix tolerances plus minus this target weight, so that the inot4C will be able to control the ejection with either products inside tolerances or products outside of the tolerances.
Exactly, exactly. Linked to an output or linked to your PLC by communication. Just one point, because I have just 1 minute before to start the video. There is an automatic zero available on the checkwire with a zero acquisition time. We are in dynamic mode. We can't make a standard zero by taking a value at a moment. So we will make a zero acquisition time. We will make a dynamic zero, little like in dosing applications. So we will make the average of all the values during a defined time. You can do this zero by sending the command dynamic zero with your PLC. Or you can give the end to the inot4, which will make automatically this zero if you are in a range given
of signal.
Of signal. So for example, here, if I am, we can say that I am calibrated in grams. If my signal is oscillating between plus or minus 10 grams, I can say, okay, correct automatically your zero if you are lower than 10 grams.
Indeed.
For sure, if the signal becomes upper than 10 grams, the zero is cancelled.
Yes. Yeah, so we can, through this general setting window, we can define all the information of our cycle with the start, with the tolerances, and with the finish of the cycle, and the zero at the end of cycle.
Exactly. Exactly. So the first training by showing you step by step how to do on InnoDView2 is finished. We will now show you a small video which has been registered a few days ago, and which will give you step by step again how we do, but in real.
Yeah. So this is a tutorial video with a real demonstration, on live demonstration. So we will let you watch this video for few minutes, and then we come back to you to finalize the training, to finish the training
in 17 minutes.
Yes.
We will now connect on our inot4C. Two ways to connect your inot4C to InnoDView2. Either you know the baud rate and the address. In that case, you enter directly the information and you click on Connect. And if you don't know the address or the baud rate or both of your inot4C, you can click on Start Searching, and InnoDView2 will search all devices connected to the computer. So he has found my inot4C on the COM14. I click on it and I connect. We will firstly calibrate the inot4C. My inot4C is connected to my checkwire
demonstration equipped with a 50 kilogram load cells. So I will make a calibration in gram with a max capacity of 5,000 grams and a scaling interval of 2 because of my load cell. Normally I should put 5, but for the test I will put 2 grams of division. We go in physical calibration. I will make the calibration with only one segment and with 1,000 grams. When I am ready, I click on OK. The soft asks me to unload the scale. It's OK. It acquires the 0. It asks me for pulling the weight on the scale. I put my 1 kilogram standard weight and I click on OK. The best thing is to always control the weight after a calibration. So here I will control if my return, my 0 return is OK, and if I put again my 1,000 grams standard weight, I have well 1,000 grams. As you know, the most difficult in the check wire is the filtering. How to filter the dynamic weight of the box passing on the check wire. So for that we will make a graphical analysis. To make this graphical analysis we will put the inode in a special mode. Firstly, I will put its CAN bus rapid to increase the capacity of my link between the computer and my inode. When I put the CAN bus rapid parameter, InodeView2 asks me if I want to make a graphical analysis and give me all the parameters in the graphical analysis. I click on apply on each of them, then I send it and I save in EEPROM. Once I have saved in EEPROM, you can see that my application menu is no more available and the graphic has changed to analysis. So I will go to analysis, but before I need to change my acquisition period sounding measurements, so it's the sampling period, to 0 to acquire all the points given by the AD converter. Once it's done, I can come back in Analysis and I will click on the button Record and I will start an analysis of 20 seconds. We really advise you to make your graphical analysis in real conditions, so with packets passing on the check wire. So in my case, I will pass a box on my check wire several times for the acquisition. Okay, my acquisition is finished now. So I have this raw acquisition with a lot of noise we can see that, okay, there is something detected, but I can't say if the detection is okay or not. So I will try to simulate filters to have the good signal for acquisition and for my check wire. So first, my ID converter filter, I will apply, but before that, I will go to the FFT visualization to check my frequency signal. The normal response of a check wire in frequency is a cardinal sinus. So we have to check and to search for the cardinal sinus in the FFT given by InnodeView 2. Basically, we will put the low-pass filter at a frequency to have at least the main frequency and at least 2 harmonics of the cardinal sinus. In my case, it means that I will have a cutoff frequency at 7.5 Hz. Once it's done, I leave the FFT visualization. I can apply my AD converter filter, and then I will change my low-pass filter with a cutoff frequency at 7.5, and I will activate it in an order 2. We can see on the graph the result of my acquisition. So we can see that some of them are not good because the box has touched the check wire, the static parts of the check wire during the transit, but I will focus on a good one to make my graphical analysis. But the graphical analysis is useful also to determine the timers of your cycle if you need, and you can see also the inputs of my 2 detectors present on my check wire. Basically, I need to activate the cursor. For that, I click on the button option. The button option is the button with the 2 cogwheels at the top left of the screen. Then I click on it and I activate my cursors. So one cursor is here and the other one seems to be far away. Okay, I take it and I bring it back on my signal. I put the cursors on the area of the signal where I can see that I have a good measurement. And we can see that at the top of the window, so you have the difference between the cursor 1 and 2 on the horizontal axis and on the vertical axis. So here I can see I have a mean value of 230 grams, and I have a measuring time of 0.2 seconds. So I apply my filters, I save in EEPROM. I can control that my filters are well applied in filtering. I come back in Modbus RTU for my communication. I will put back the inode 4C in checkwire functioning mode. I send it, I save in EEPROM. Okay, I can control that my filters are well applied. It's okay. So I can go in application to configure my checkwire. But firstly, I will configure the inputs and outputs of my checkwire because I am equipped with two detectors for the input and the output of my band. So I will put the first input in start cycle in negative logic to be sure that the product has fully passed the detector before to start the cycle. And I will put the input 2 in stop cycle in positive to stop the cycle when the product pass my detector. I save in EEPROM. Okay, I have saved in EEPROM, and now I can come back to application. So on the application, you will find different parameters. The first one is the trigger level. If we don't use detectors to start the cycle, we can set a trigger level. It means that when the weight will be upper than this level, the cycle will automatically start. The target. You can put in the inode 4C target parameters with tolerances, plus and minus. It allows the inode 4C to sort the product if they are higher or lower than the tolerances. You have also the stabilization time. I will put it to 0 in my case because I use a detector to start the cycle and I have no waiting time. And the measurement time, I will put 1000, very long, because my cycle is stopped by the detector. You have to know that the cycle will be stopped either by the timer, either by the detector, if you put a time a little short. If you don't use detectors, you need to use the graphical analysis to calculate your stabilization time and your measuring time. So I will use and I will try to detect the weight of my a small gray box, which the weight is 238 grams. So I will start my checkwire and I will pass my box. Okay, 2036. 2044, 2044, 2044, 2044, 2036, 2036, 'And I will try also to put another object in my box to show you the difference. So, okay, 2070. So it has well detected the object in my box. As we can see that we have the InnodeView2 indicates us that we have one product out of tolerance. And I can check the weight of my small scheme goodies, which is 36 grams. So it means that 236 plus 34, I have well the 270 grams detected by the Inode.
Okay, so the video is now finished. We hope it's been interesting for you to see this on real time, and we hope that it answered let's say all your questions related to the use and to the configuration of an Inode4C, so digital controller for check wing, dynamic wing applications. We listed several. We've received several questions during the presentation, so thank you very much. We will answer this question in a few minutes, just after a short conclusion of this presentation. So, just a second, we have a technical problem. That is solved now. Sorry for this. Yeah. So as I said, we will now make a very short conclusion, just for you to remember the main points of our Inode4C controller, and the main points to be remembered, and then just after we will answer your questions. So about the main points to remember. As I just said, Inode4 is a digital controller which embedded a specific firmware dedicated to dynamic weight control, so dynamic weighing applications. So Inode4 it offers a user-friendly programming environment with our InnodeView2 software, so to be used either for the display or for the configuration. We have also two models of HMI touch panels, so that can be also used either for the configuration and for the display during the process.
With one limitation, with HMI, you can't do the FFT
yes.
Analysis.
Yes, so graphic analysis.
You need the powerful of the computer CPU.
Yes, indeed. So that's the only exception. So our eNote4, not only the eNote4C, but the whole range of eNote4 digital transmitters are, of course, compatible with all load cells from Skame. So eNote4 is digital transmitter controllers suitable for strain gauge load cells and sensors. So anytime you have a strain gauge load cell offering a millivolt per volt signal, you can use on eNote4. So it means that it's eNote4 is also suitable for connection with load cells from our competitors, so from other manufacturers. And eNote4 is compatible with 95%, or let's say the main industrial PLC available on the market, thanks through the different communication protocol available. So either serial protocols, Modbus RS485, Modbus RTU, CAN Open, Profibus, but also Ethernet protocols, Profinet, Ethernet IP, Modbus TCP, and EtherCAT. And then last point, so eNote4 is a flexible solution because this range of controllers is available with 5 different firmwares depending on your application. It's also price attractive solution proposed either in DIN model or stainless steel box version with integrated touch panel. And it's also compatible compared with the PLC backplane modules available on the market. So we can now go on and answer your questions. So first question we've received, Christophe, related to the number of calibration points.
Yes.
So basically the idea of the question was when should we perform a calibration with 3 points? So 2 segments.
2 or 3 segments.
2 or 3 segments.
Yes.
Yeah.
Basically, a calibration with a brand new load cell. Calibration with a brand new load cell will always be done in 1 segment because this load cell, we know that it is linear. You can perform calibration in 2 or 3 segments if you are, for example, revamping an old installation and you are not completely sure of the health of your sensors. In this case, it could be a good thing to do 2 or 3 segments calibrations because your sensors are old. You don't know if they are not be slightly overloaded during their lifetime. So in this case, we can advise maybe if you're not sure to make a 3 points calibration. But with a brand new product, 1 segment calibration is clearly sufficient.
Okay, so basically the idea of making two segments is to check that the signal is really offers a good
yes, exactly. It's to
linearity.
Yes, it's to linearize a bad signal. So a bad signal means a bad sensor. So it means that your sensor is at the end of his lifetime.
Okay.
So be careful. Be careful.
Second question we had related to few questions that we received related to the sampling rate,
yes,
and to the maximum speed of the conveyor.
In fact, all these points are linked together. As we said before, we need between 15 and 25 points to make a good check wire calculation. So it means that we have to adapt the rate to this to our application. It's logical that if you have a very fast belt, it means that you need a long scale to have enough point to do your application. So I can't give figures because it will depend of the mechanical, it will depend of the load cell, it will depend of the product, of the shape of the product. But basically, we say that the length of the belt should be 2 times the max length of what we are weighing. And for the sampling rate, we advise in Checkwire to be for very quick Checkwire with 10 up to 15 packets per second to go in 200, 400 measurements per second for the AD converter rate.
Yes.
And for slower application, 120, 100 or 200, it's okay.
Okay, understood. Another questions which is related to few questions we have received connected to the number of detectors.
Yes.
So basically 0 detectors, so cycle by a weight detection, or 1 detector or 2 detectors. So when question was related to when do we need to use detectors, and how many detectors do we need?
It will depend of your application again. If you are weighing always the same product, the same weight, and the same shape, you don't need detectors. You do it with the weight, it's clearly okay. At the inverse, you are in a packaging area of your factory. You make different boxes with different shapes, with different weight. In this case, we can't define a stabilization time and a measuring time common for each boxes. So in this time, you will have to use 2 detectors because we don't know what is the shape and what is the weight of the product arriving. So we don't know exactly the measuring time, what we need to have a Checkwire. So in this case, 2 detectors. And 1 detector, it's between both. In this case, it's more linked to the speed of the belt. You put the first detector at the entry of your scale, and after you let the measuring time stop the cycles.
Yeah, so this is pretty much linked to another question that we've received. If we have a fast process, very short measuring time, is it advised to use detectors, or should we better do it through the weight detection?
Detectors.
Yeah.
Clearly detectors.
So for fast process, it's advised to use detectors.
Fast process means
small measuring time.
Small measuring times. It means also that the speed of the product is important, and the strength and the oscillation, the vibrations during when the product will enter on the scale could be a difficulty.
Signal will be very noisy.
So in this case, detector at the beginning, detector at the end.
Okay, which helps to start the...
Or at least detector at the entry, and after the time to let the inode for measuring.
Okay, understood. So another question received related to the location of the motor on the conveyor. So should we place it at the entrance, or should we locate the motor at the output of the conveyor?
It's a very good question, because there is no mechanical response, but by experience, we see that the conveyor with motor at the end of the conveyor are more noisy than the conveyors which have the motor at the entrance.
Okay.
So we clearly advise to put the motor at the entrance of the conveyor because the noise is less problematic in this case.
At that time, yeah. Okay, understood. Some other questions we've received related to the use of InnodeView. Where can I see the results curve from through the InnodeView 2 software?
Okay, in this case, I will.
Maybe we need to go back and
a little. Yeah. So when you are in application menu of your InnodeView, you will have here the results of your cycle, and under my pop-up here, which indicates where are the timing, you have some statistics. Statistics who gives the number of cycle, the total weight passed on the check wire, the average, etc., etc. If you want to display a pure graphic results with points, okay, first packet 15, second packet 16, third packet 14, you need to go in graphic. And in graphic, you can choose the curve you want to display. So you can display the net weight, the gross weight, the factor measurement, and the result.
Okay. Okay. So you can select in this through this.
So you can select
menu. You can select the values you want to display.
Yes, or you can display all.
Sure. Or you can display everything. Okay. 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 Thank you. Another question. This time related to the accuracy. How much accuracy may be achieved if measuring time is 100 milliseconds and weight is 1 kilo, 1,000 grams. So this I think is difficult to answer.
It's difficult to answer because it's linked to a lot of factors. The accuracy is always what we want, all the best accuracy, but it's clearly linked. It's clearly linked to your mechanical or controller. Is maybe one of the best on the market, but if you have mechanical little poor with vibrations, with a lot of shocks when the packets enter on the conveyor, the Inode will not able to remove all these shocks because physically they are applied on the sensor. So the first accuracy of your check wire is your mechanical. It's your know-how how to make a check wire. It's your known, and it's you are the accuracy of the customer is the accuracy of a check wire. Basically, after it's also linked to the sensor used on the check wire.
Capacity of the scale.
Exactly. You have a sensor which has a minimum division value, and you can't stand to be really better than this minimum value due to the design of the sensor. And more of that, I said, okay, 100 milliseconds. 100 milliseconds, it's a pretty long time to measure. So we are at 200 measurements per second, for example. 100 milliseconds, it means 20 points. So we are okay. We have
enough points.
Yes, we have enough points to make the calculation. So the accuracy will be good. But what is the accuracy wanted? Because if the customer said, I want to measure 1,000 grams at 0.1 gram with 100 kg load cell, we say no, it's not possible. It depends of the need. But if the person was asked this question, maybe we can discuss that offline. By mail or by telephone to give us all the details of the application, and we can give you a better answer.
By analyzing the entire system, what is the load cell, what is the capacity of the load cell used, how is designed the conveyor, and which kind of product are measured, what is the speed of the conveyor, etc.
Exactly.
So there are many, as you said, Christophe, there are many different parameters to be taken into account to answer about the possible accuracy you can expect. As a general information, and you'll tell me if it's correct or not, Christophe, but the faster you want to go, the more you will affect the accuracy of your measurement.
If you want to go very fast with very big packs on a very low scale, you will affect the accuracy. So you have a choice to do. always between accuracy and rapidity
and speed.
and speed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's so we hope it perhaps did not answer your direct question, but at least provide a first level of information to you. In any case, so maybe just to finish, something very important. At Skeim, we are really available to help and support you in your projects. To do so, we have of course, different salesperson at first that you can contact if you have any technical questions, but also our technical team, technical support team, so hotline service, if I can say.
Yes.
Christophe is the manager of this team, and then we have another person, Bernard, who's working with us, and a new person coming very, very soon.
Yes.
So on this team is really available to help you in your project. So if you have questions related to the configuration and to the use of our Inode4 electronics, you can contact them. Perhaps I can mention the email.
Yes.
So you can contact them by email, of course. Also phone, it's possible. And if there is something very complex to be answered with you, we can even take some meetings, define a meeting time with you.
Yes.
So
the
email
don't hesitate to send us an email on support@skeim.com.
Yeah, support support@skeim.com. So easy to remember, and then you can then describe your project and your question.
Okay. So we have no more question. So basically, thanks you for listening us. We hope that we have answer to your question, that we are answer to your need by following this training, and we wish you a good day and stay in health.
Yeah, thank you very much to everyone. Have a nice day, and please do not hesitate to contact us if you have any question. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.